what I do in my coaching is I then have a methodology in terms of purpose-driven awareness methodology we've had, is to then bring people out of that to where they may be potentially a better colleague or a better performer. And that's the important thing, to be able to get there. And if you can have that state of awareness and understanding, okay, what are my triggers, traumas, parental programs, things that don't work for me, and understand them through a state of awareness, but then be able to think, okay, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to completely get rid of them, but when I have that awareness, I can catch myself out in the moment. So if it's something like maybe being fearful of not being good enough or imposter syndrome or something like that, maybe you can just go, oh, hold on a minute. It's that little demon on that shoulder shouting a bit louder than the angel on this shoulder. I need to brush that aside and ask myself or ask my ego, is that really right truth? Because I am good enough. I am worthy enough and I can achieve this. And as what it was that Henry Ford says, if you think you can, you can. Yeah. If you think you can't, you can't. So I think that's very important to be able to get into that state and, self-check at times. Look at, the interaction maybe that I had with Paul. Was I speaking in a clear fashion? Was I coming from ego or heart? Was I trying to add value or look good? And that way you can get an idea of trying to understand where you were on self-check and hopefully over time self-improve. Because I think sometimes when people do coaching with me, they sometimes start looking at their flaws and they think, oh my God, what am I like? Oh no. But I don't want them to focus on them, but I just want them to be aware of them so that they can catch back. Because there's quite a lot of people who I know who are amazing multimillionaire leaders and they bulldoze their way up to the top and they have no idea of the carnage they've left with other people potentially behind them. And there are other great leaders who are inspirational leaders who create inspiration rather than motivation, which is motivation is beating someone over the head with a stick or offering them loads of money. Whereas inspiration is getting people to really believe in something in a sense of purpose and bring them along the way on that as well in terms of buying into that. So I think it's really important to have that state of awareness so that you can change, if you want, awareness and accountability and maybe some acceptance, because sometimes I can tell you there's something in you as a coach, but you might not believe it, you might not accept it. But if you accept it and truly embody it that you want to change, then you can make that change and become a better version of yourself.